Breath of Fire 4 was released for the PlayStation on April 27, 2000 in Japan, November 28, 2000 in North America, and August 3, 2001 in Europe. It was a commercial success and a cult classic that's nowadays considered as one of the best in the series. Sadly, it was the last true title, as later entries became more experimental than anything else. In any case, we're here today to take a look into 10 things you may not know about Breath of Fire 4. Number 10. Hand-drawn sprites. The artwork and character design in Breath of Fire 4 is highly unique, but many people don't know why. They just know it looks different somehow. Well, that's because the sprites of the game were all hand-drawn and included as such. This pixel art became as a niche pleasure for some fans, and it is considered today as one of the best of its kind for the PlayStation era. The author of this magnificent work was none other than Tatsuya Yoshikawa, who had previously worked in every single title in the series as the lead character designer. Number 9. PC port only in Japan and Europe? It is widely known that most JRPGs and all their ports are often released only in North America but not in Europe. Well, with Breath of Fire 4, the exact opposite occurred. The game was ported to Microsoft Windows in 2003, but North America never got that version. The reason could very well be that initially the series had been slightly more successful in Europe than, ironically, in North America. There was also a PS1 Greatest Hits version, but it was exclusive to Japan. Whatever the case though, we didn't miss much considering it's almost the exact same game as the PlayStation version. Number 8. Japanese Subtitle. Everyone in the world except Japan got this game as simply Breath of Fire 4, and that's exactly how we've known it for years. But in Japan, the game had a subtitle, The Unfading Ones. This could be interpreted very easily if we changed the word unfading for endless, which are the race of the two main characters in the game. There's no explanation as to why they removed the subtitle for its localization, but perhaps it was for traditional purposes as none of its predecessors had one either. Number 7. Mangas, Anthology, and a Novel. Well, it's no surprise that JRPGs are often a huge deal in their country of origin, so most of them usually get some other form of media. In Breath of Fire 4's case, there were 3 official mangas, 2 of them being parody comics, and another one an anthology comic. All these the same year the game was released, in 2000. Shortly after, a novelization was published. 7 years later, an official series manga, not a comedy, was finally released as a series. This all goes to show how successful this game truly was, especially in Japan. Number 6. It was going to be a PS2 game. The PlayStation 2 was released in Japan on March 2000. 1 month later, Breath of Fire 4 was released for the PS1. Initially, Capcom and the development team wanted to produce the game to be released on the PS2, as it would make more sense. Capcom had said 1 year earlier that their next RPG would be a huge project that was going to use the system's network capabilities. However, all these ideas vanished the next month since the game itself had already been in development for quite some time. It turns out the team had been going back and forth into it until finally committing for a PlayStation release that very same year. I don't know about you, but considering the crappy JRPGs we got as launch titles for the PS2, I think this game would have been an excellent addition on the system. Number 5. Rushed Localization. It took 7 months to localize the game to North America. Only 7. Usually, RPGs take over a year to be properly localized and fully translated. But with Breath of Fire 4, Capcom wanted the game out for holidays in 2000, so everything was rushed, resulting in some little chaos. Some features weren't even included in the original version, so imagine how it was for its localization. One such thing was the credits of the game not being translated, or the removal of one of CS's abilities called Identify. That and some censorship problems, which we'll get into later, led the game's translation to be rushed for its North American release. Well, rushed or not, Breath of Fire 4 turned out to be an excellent turn-based RPG for the PlayStation. Number 4. It's not a prequel. Many people believe that this game is a prequel to the series, considering the first 3 games are connected in a story arc. Breath of Fire 4, however, as stated by the developers themselves, wanted to take the series into a different direction. They haven't denied anything ironically, but there's no proof that this game is a prequel or it's even connected to its predecessors at all. In fact, it's supposed to be its own game, possibly taking place in an alternative universe? That is merely a theory though, but it makes a lot of sense considering a few details, such as having cameos from some of the Breath of Fire 3 characters. The one that strikes me the most is a certain character that could serve as the only true connection between Breath of Fire 4 and all the others. Number 3. The Deis Controversy. Deis is a character that first appeared in the original Breath of Fire for the Super Nintendo, but with her name changed to Blue. She is a party member, but we all know that. She is a secret playable character in Breath of Fire 2 with the same name changed for the English releases. In both games, she seems to be a creature who's half human, half snake, probably a reference to the Naga, a group of deities from the Hindu religion. In Breath of Fire 3, she wakes up in her full human body, but later reappears in her usual form. Last but not least, she takes a very important role in Breath of Fire 4. Here, she's trapped in Urshin's armor, a party member in the game. Once she's released, again in her human form, it is finally revealed that she is indeed a goddess. As a matter of fact, she is the same race as Ryu and Fulu, one of the Endless. This character led to believe that the game was indeed connected to its predecessors in some form of prequel or sequel. Nothing has been confirmed by Capcom though, and I get the feeling they probably never will. Number 2. Mobile games. Believe it or not, there were a bunch of spin-offs for mobile phones only in Japan, all of them from Breath of Fire 4. So there's 4 of them. Breath of Daifugo is a simulated version of the Japanese card game Daifugo, which just so happens to feature characters from the game. The second one is based on the fishing minigame. It was so much fun, apparently, that it became a game of its own for phones in Japan called Dragon Fisherman. Then there's an action RPG called The Sword of Fire and the Magic of Wind, allegedly taking place during the events of the game. You can only use Ryu and Nina here, as they try to escape from some soldiers of the Empire. The fourth and final spin-off is also an action RPG, now called The Fairies and the Key of Light. It revolves around a group of fairies living in the dream world who have lost their treasure, which is the Key of Light. So Ryu and Nuna must now help them, for whatever goddamn reason, to find it. What baffles me the most is that these 2 last games were released between 2007 and 2009. That's almost a decade after the original release. It just goes on to prove once again that this game was a huge thing in Japan. Number 1. Controversial censorship. It is widely known that most JRPGs had a little censorship here and there when they made it outside Japan. The most popular in Breath of Fire 4 seems to be around the character Cias. In the Japanese version, he's a drunk swordsman, and in the English one, he just has a speech issue that forces him to stutter, but it's never explained. Others are more ridiculous. One involves Ryu accidentally grabbing Ursula's boob during a scene. It was left intact for the English release, but no one makes a reaction. In the Japanese version, of course there is a reaction by both of them. Ryu also spies on Nina and Ursula taking a bath in a pond, but you can't see anything other than their little conversation anyway. Ursula drops her pants on a scene with some pirates for, whatever reason. But perhaps the most controversial of them all was when Fulu, in the Japanese version, literally decapitates Emperor Soniel. Maybe this was considered as too violent back in the day for everybody in the world? I mean, really? It's not even explicit anyway! Whatever, at least nothing truly major was censored during its rushed localization. Okay people, that was my take on this classic turn-based RPG for the PS1, my favorite Breath of Fire in the series, and definitely one of the best. If there are more facts that you may know about this great game, feel free to include them in the comment section. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends. See you next time!